Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. All right, folks, buckle up because the drama in Washington just got real asterisk. The Commanders' rookie quarterback, Jayden Daniels, usually calm and composed in front of the cameras, just dropped a bombshell that's echoing across the entire NFL landscape. After another disappointing loss that left fans questioning the team's identity, Daniels stepped up to the mic and didn't hold back. His words, "We play with fear. That's unacceptable. Let that sink in." A rookie calling out the entire organization, directly pointing fingers at head coach Dan Quinn and his conservative approach on offense. It's rare to see such fire from a young QB, especially one still trying to find his footing in the league, but maybe that's exactly what this team needed: a spark, a wake-up call, a raw emotional reality check that says, we're not here just to compete, we're here to win. The tension has been building for weeks, but this outburst might be the moment the entire Commanders season flips, one way or another. Because when your quarterback loses faith in the leadership, it's not just about X's and O's anymore, it's about heart, pride, and the culture inside that locker room that might already be falling apart behind the scenes. Whispers have been circulating that not everything in Washington is as stable as it looks. Sources close to the team suggest that Jayden Daniels has been frustrated for weeks with the offensive play calling, particularly in key moments when he's been forced to check down instead of taking deep shots. He's reportedly clashed with Quinn and offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury about the lack of aggression. The word fear didn't come out of nowhere. It's something that's been echoing behind closed doors. Teammates have allegedly noticed the tension too, saying that Daniels has been different lately, more vocal, more emotional, more willing to challenge the veterans and coaching staff. For a player still carving out his place in the league, that's bold, but it also shows he's not afraid to take the reins. Maybe that's the leadership Washington's been missing. Because when you have a generational talent frustrated with being held back, you either unleash him or risk losing the locker room entirely. And right now, that line between control and collapse feels razor thin in DC. Dan Quinn, on the other hand, seems to be walking a tightrope between defending his philosophy and keeping the locker room intact. The veteran coach has always been known for his disciplined, defensive-minded approach. And while that worked in the past, the modern NFL is a different animal. Explosive offenses win games, and young quarterbacks thrive when given freedom to improvise. Daniels has that spark, that instinct, that electricity that can shift momentum in seconds, yet Quinn's playbook feels stuck in 2015. It's methodical, predictable, and according to insiders, suffocating. Imagine being a dual-threat QB like Daniels, capable of torching defenses with your legs and your arm, but being told to play it safe, to take the short throw, to avoid mistakes instead of chasing greatness. That's where the disconnect lies. Quinn wants control, Daniels wants chaos, the good kind. The kind that wins games, and when those philosophies collide, something's bound to break. The question is, will it be the coach or the quarterback? Because one of them isn't staying quiet anymore, and it's starting to show in every snap, every press conference, and every icy glance on the sideline. Fans are already taking sides, and social media has exploded with takes, memes, and heated debates. #FreeJayden has been trending all morning, with fans demanding the coaching staff let the kid cook. It's a phrase borrowed from the Russell Wilson era in Seattle, but the sentiment fits perfectly here. Washington supporters are tired of watching their team fold under pressure, tired of seeing flashes of brilliance get buried under conservative decision-making. Jayden Daniels was drafted to change that, to bring swagger, explosiveness, and a new era of Commanders football. Instead, what fans are seeing is a clash between an old-school coach and a new-school quarterback. And in today's NFL, the new school usually wins. Commentators on ESPN, Fox, and even former players are chiming in, saying that if Quinn doesn't adapt, he could lose his locker room faster than he realizes. Because once a quarterback publicly calls out his coach, especially using words like fear, that's not just criticism, that's rebellion. And rebellions, once they start, are hard to contain. Inside the locker room, though, things are reportedly even more chaotic. Veterans are trying to play peacekeepers, telling both sides to cool down and focus on football, but you can feel the divide forming. Younger players The ones who came up watching mobile quarterbacks dominate the game are rallying behind Jayden. They love his fire, his honesty, his refusal to conform. The older guys, the ones who've seen coaches come and go, are preaching patience and respect for the system. It's an ideological split, as much as it is a strategic one, and when you mix youth, frustration, and public criticism, you get volatility, the kind that can either ignite a turnaround or destroy a season. Daniels' comments weren't accidental. They were a statement, maybe even a plea. Let us play free. He seemed to be saying, stop coaching scared. Whether Dan Quinn hears that message or digs in deeper remains to be seen. But the vibe inside that building feels heavy. Something's going to give. The only question now is when, and who pays the price when it does. The Commanders' upcoming schedule doesn't help either. They're staring down a brutal stretch against top-tier defenses. And every misstep will only amplify the noise. The media frenzy is growing. Analysts dissecting every word, every sideline glance, every third down call, and Jayden Daniels, for better or worse, has become the lightning rod of it all. You can almost sense that the young quarterback doesn't regret speaking out. In fact, he might double down. His body language in practice, according to reporters, screams frustration mixed with determination. Meanwhile, Dan Quinn faces the toughest test of his coaching career. Prove that his system can evolve, or risk losing not just games, but the respect of his franchise quarterback. It's a high-stakes standoff playing out in real time, and everyone, from fans to former players, is watching closely. If Washington can find a way to channel this chaos into motivation, maybe this storm turns into a spark, but if not, the Commanders could be staring down yet another rebuild. This time with their supposed franchise savior questioning whether he's even in the right place to begin with. Now here's where things start to twist. Because what looked like a spontaneous outburst from Jayden Daniels might actually have been brewing for a lot longer. Sources familiar with the locker room vibe say this wasn't just about one game. This was about weeks, maybe months of pent-up frustration. Daniels reportedly felt handcuffed by a playbook that didn't reflect his strengths. He's one of the most dynamic young quarterbacks in the league. A guy who can make magic out of chaos, but Quinn's system demands structure and predictability. The phrase playing with fear was, in Daniels' mind, a metaphor for the overall mentality of the team, a culture that prioritizes avoiding mistakes over chasing greatness. To him, that's not leadership. That's survival, and that survival mode, he believes, is why the Commanders keep collapsing in big moments. Insiders say Daniels even tried addressing it privately weeks ago, but nothing changed. So when the cameras came on after the latest loss, the rookie had enough. His words may have shocked the public, but inside the team, they were a long time coming. Everyone knew this explosion was inevitable. Dan Quinn, however, isn't going down quietly. He's been through controversy before. And if there's one thing he prides himself on, it's keeping control of his locker room, but control only works when players buy in, and right now, that buy-in looks shaky. Quinn's philosophy revolves around discipline, structure, and execution. But the NFL has evolved past the days when defenses and cautious playbooks could carry you. Offenses today need creativity and freedom, and that's where the tension lies. Quinn reportedly confronted Daniels privately after the press conference, urging him to keep frustrations internal. But multiple team insiders say that meeting didn't go well. Daniels stood firm, repeating that fear had become part of their game identity. Quinn, visibly upset, reminded the rookie who was in charge. That exchange, depending on who you ask, either showed Daniels' immaturity or his leadership. The truth probably lies somewhere in between. What's undeniable is that the Commanders now have the strong-willed leaders staring each other down, and neither seems ready to back off as the noise grows louder. The Commanders' front office has been forced to take notice. Rumors are circulating that owner Josh Harris and GM Adam Peters have already had internal discussions about the situation. On one hand, they see the value of a passionate, fearless young quarterback who wants to win at all costs. On the other, they know undermining the head coach mid-season can destroy team chemistry. It's a tightrope walk, and every move is being watched by fans and analysts alike. Some insiders believe the team might quietly start adjusting the offensive scheme to give Daniels more freedom, rollouts, designed runs, deeper throws, subtle changes to calm the storm, without publicly siding against Quinn. But others think it's too late. Once a quarterback publicly calls out leadership, the narrative changes. It becomes coach versus player, authority versus rebellion. And history shows, in today's NFL, players, especially star quarterbacks, often come out on top. The Commanders might be on the verge of a power shift, one that could reshape their entire identity going forward. Meanwhile, the locker room dynamic continues to fracture. Several players have anonymously spoken to local reporters, saying the energy around the team feels off. Practices, once upbeat and competitive, have turned tense. Coaches bark louder. Players mutter under their breath. There's an underlying feeling that everyone's walking on eggshells. Jayden Daniels, however, hasn't backed down. Teammates say he's been working harder than ever, leading huddles with fire, even staying late for extra reps. He's trying to prove that his criticism wasn't just emotional, it was constructive. He wants to win. But others wonder if that passion might turn into defiance if things don't change soon. Dan Quinn, for his part, remains stoic in pressers, giving robotic answers and brushing off the controversy. Yet his body language tells another story, the tension in his jaw, the brief flashes of frustration. He knows the storm is real, and he knows that in today's NFL, public perception can be as powerful as results on the field. If the team keeps losing, this situation could implode fast. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. The irony in all this is that Jayden Daniels' breakout potential is being overshadowed by drama he never wanted to be part of. He was drafted as the future, the electric playmaker meant to energize a fanbase desperate for hope. And to be fair, when given the chance, he's flashed brilliance, long runs, perfect deep balls, clutch plays under pressure, but those moments have been sporadic, buried under conservative calls and missed opportunities. Fans can feel it, analysts can see it. The Commanders have something special but don't seem to know how to use it. And when a player that talented starts questioning leadership, it's not just about ego. It's about wasted potential. Daniels' frustration might be the symptom of something deeper, a franchise still figuring out who it wants to be. Is it bold, fearless, modern, or cautious, rigid and stuck in the past? The answer to that question might determine not just the outcome of this season, but the future of everyone in that building. Because one thing's clear, Jayden Daniels won't stop speaking his truth now. With the season hanging in the balance, all eyes turn to what happens next. Will Dan Quinn swallow his pride and adapt? Or will the power struggle tear the Commanders apart from within? Players are whispering that a closed-door meeting is set for this week, one that could either mend relationships or push them further apart. Jayden Daniels has already shown he's not afraid of confrontation, and honestly, that might be what Washington needs. Great teams are built on accountability, and sometimes accountability means calling out what's broken, but the NFL isn't kind to drama. Every distraction chips away at focus, and every headline becomes fuel for opponents. Still, you can't help but feel like something's shifting, a storm brewing that might either cleanse or destroy. Maybe this is the start of a new era, one where players refuse to be silenced by outdated systems. Or maybe it's just another chapter in Washington's long history of chaos. Either way, one thing's for sure, Jayden Daniels has spoken, and the Commanders will never be the same again. The rumor mill also teases potential locker room dynamics, with insiders suggesting that Olive's professionalism, experience, and work ethic could serve as a catalyst for cultural transformation within the Commanders organization. Reports hint at veteran players taking cues from Olive's preparation routines, while younger receivers may be inspired to elevate their performance standards, creating a competitive yet collaborative environment. Analysts speculate that this cultural impact could be just as significant as his on-field contributions, fostering cohesion, accountability, and intensity in practice sessions, meetings, and game preparation. Meanwhile, opposing teams are reportedly concerned not only with Olive's physical capabilities, but with the psychological edge his presence might provide, as defenses anticipate more complex reads, faster adjustments, and explosive plays that could swing momentum in the Commanders' favor. Fans, ever vigilant, are theorizing about every possible outcome, from breakout games to season-defining catches, fueling a narrative that grows more elaborate and charged with each passing day. The combination of elite talent, strategic integration, and intangible leadership qualities positions Olave as a player capable of influencing not just statistics but the very culture, mentality, and identity of his new team, sparking conversations that blur the line between sports analysis, speculation, and pure fan excitement. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.